If you were the black sheep of your family, you probably grew up believing something was wrong with you. Too sensitive, too difficult, too honest, too much. You were told, directly or quietly, that if you could just change, everything would finally be peaceful. But psychology tells a very different story. In dysfunctional family systems, the one labeled the problem is often the healthiest person in the room. You weren't rejected because you were broken. You were rejected because you reflected what others refused to face. You became the mirror, and mirrors are dangerous to people committed to illusion. Family systems theory calls this the identified patient, but from an evolutionary lens, you are something else entirely. You are the scout, the one designed not to maintain the system, but to break the cycle. Being the black sheep isn't about being different, it's about being disruptive to denial. In rigid families, the goal is not growth, it's stability at all costs. Everyone plays their role, everyone pretends, everyone looks away. And then there's you, asking questions, feeling too deeply, noticing what's wrong. So the family does what systems always do under threat. They choose a container, someone to carry the blame, the tension, the unspoken pain. That someone was you. And while that isolation cut deeply, it rewired your brain in rare ways. You didn't develop compliance, you developed clarity. You have an intolerance for lies, especially comfortable ones. Your body reacts to inauthenticity before your mind can explain it. When something is off, you feel it. This makes you immune to gaslighting later in life. You see through masks. You hear what's not being said. You also carry weight that may not have started with you. Trauma travels through generations, and black sheep are often the ones who stop it. You are the one drawn to healing, to therapy, to truth. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system refused to normalize pain. You were called too sensitive, but what you actually have is high emotional intelligence. You read micro-expressions. You sense shifts in energy. You notice storms before they arrive. This sensitivity is not fragility, it's advanced perception. And with it comes a fierce sense of justice. You cannot ignore unfairness. You cannot stay silent when someone is being harmed, because you know what it feels like to be unheard. So you stand up, often alone. You don't seek leadership, but people follow you anyway, not because you dominate, but because you don't lie. You've also learned discernment the hard way. You trust patterns, not promises, behavior, not words. This saves you years of wrong relationships, and yes, it often leads to solitude, but solitude became your sanctuary. While others fear being alone, you built a home inside yourself. That inner world made you a seeker of meaning, of depth, of truth beyond the story you were given, and eventually it gave you authenticity. You stopped shrinking, stopped explaining, stopped begging to belong. You chose truth over approval. The final gift is this: you are the wounded healer, because you've been there, because you survived rejection without losing your heart. You don't minimize pain, you sit with it. You don't offer cliches, you offer presence. They called you the black sheep because you wouldn't follow blindly, but sheep follow. You were never meant to. You were the one sent to say, "This ends with me." And it does. If this resonates, leave a heart or a star in the comments so others like you know they're not alone.